I think it would help. I don't know. I keep on trying, but I'm not getting all that far. Because we have a second generation person who comes, Robin Harnow. Yeah. He's a great character, He's second generation. He's had problems, clearly. But he gave us a talk on Bismarck, which was brilliant. And he's offered us another talk. I'm looking for people like that, more people like that. But I don't know how to go about it now. Ronald Channing of AJR, I think that ought not to be on the tape. He suggested, he came to give us a talk, and I just suggested that there should be perhaps some closer links. But he said, then why don't we come in like the Kindertransport people into the AJR? I said, no. But I said I'd have to discuss it with the committee. The committee agrees with me and says, no, we're not Jewish enough, we're not refugee enough, and we don't want to exclude them. Anybody who likes our program of lectures is welcome to individual lectures or to more lectures, or to all, or as members, providing they like our program of lectures. The program can change with the changing membership, with changes of interest. But I always appeal to people who want something on the subject, please get me the speaker.
How many members are there at the moment?
About 30. We've lost one or two, we've gained one or two. So we would like more members, but our attendance, as you see, has again, average attendance has again improved. About last year, the year 2000, certainly in the first few months, we were dangerously down, and I was getting worried. But that's... The winter months this year have been much better. But we are getting some very fine speakers. I mean, next week I think it's next Monday, we've got Soros Medvedev, who's a very prominent and famous Russian dissident from Soviet days, many occasions in prison and camps, with his brother, famous historian.
You mentioned the word Kindertransport nostalgia. Yeah. What do you mean by that?
It's an unkind word, actually. It's from people who think back on it with a sort of nostalgic feeling. It wasn't so. It was rather nice. It was rather, it was a positive experience. When for many it wasn't. But what I refer to is people who got stuck in it, who cannot move on and realize that they have changed. In a way like Club 1943 has changed. I don't think Club 43 in some respects has changed all that much. Yes, it is much wider. Yes, it is much more inclusive of people not part of us. Well, we have this chap, this young, not middle-aged man from next door, from the church next door, comes quite regularly now. I've forgotten his name. He was there on Monday again, and he talked about. Well, he was clearly an ex-communist, writes poetry himself, but in English. Doesn't know any German. But he's of neither German nor Jewish origin, but he just likes our program of lectures, and he's interested in our background too. So Kindertransport nostalgia, it means an enclosed world.
While you are propagating
an open world, yes, an open sort of thought process. Perhaps, I mean, that reflects my attitude. I've always resisted anything closed, even in politics. I mean, even in the Labour Party, I'm a bit of an outsider. Not an outsider, really, but a bit of a non-conformer, yes. Not necessarily to the left or the right, but different. it's a mixture in my personality. On the one hand, having had the experience, a horror experience of being an outsider, I want to be an insider. And once I'm inside, I want to be an outsider, a nonconformist, one who says no. But I like to think that I like to say no to certain ideas and things, but always yes to people. That's I think sums up my attitude in that respect. That occurred to me. Actually, those reflections came to me through our talk on last Monday by Ebbe Kogel. Wonderful sort of talk that made many of us think of our past attitudes towards the rebels of 68, to 78, and so on. Our attitudes, how much we were part of it. And he played examples, incidentally, of the music of the popular folk music of the political committed people. Some of it was really quite good, actually. And I had to say, well, that music passed me by in the late 1960s and 1970s. I was discovering the music of Lutosławski, of the really revolutionary music of Lutosławski, of Stockhausen. I don't like Stockhausen myself personally, but I think he's a fraud, actually. But that new world of sound of Penderecki, the Polish composer, and so on. Pierre Boulez, the real musical revolution, not the pop, which is in fact, I have to say it again, it's a pet subject of mine. It's terribly conventional. That's why I find it so boring. Not because it's loud, because the music I like say, Penderecki is much louder than anything like that. The music I write now has much more volume and noise, but all too often the pop, it's not part of this.
Do you feel your life would have been very different if you hadn't been forced to emigrate?
That is something I think is flashing. That's something I think of very, very often. Sometimes I think I'm really grateful for having had to leave. If I'd have stayed in Germany, I would in all probability have either drifted into my father's business and not been terribly happy, or I might actually have gone for music, because I wouldn't have needed the financial security as much, although my father was never a rich businessman, never prosperous, but he was reasonably well-to-do. And if I'd gone into music, I might have been even more unhappy, because I'm not quite sure how far I would have got. I have my doubts whether, as a composer, I would have got all that far. I have my doubts about it. I don't know. So I think I would probably have not gone into teaching, lecturing. I would probably have given in to my parents to get married, but which would not have made me happy either. It's simply no. I think no. That's not true. Actually, I think I've become an Einzelgänger out of experience. The experience I've had, the feeling I want to be left alone.
I need to stop you there because we need to change tape.
Again? Gosh, you want another? Gosh, it's 1:30. Do you want to have some food?
Let's just finish. This is the